There is a kind of pain that follows you without speaking, a silence that moves with you like a shadow, built from memories you've never fully faced. Spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle once said, "Pain has two levels: the pain you create in the now, and the pain from the past that still lives in your body and mind. Together they form a negative energy field, something that doesn't just haunt your emotions, it shapes your reality. It's like walking through life carrying an invisible weight. The pain from now is part of being human. But the pain from the past, that's optional. That can be processed, released, transformed. And that's what spiritually awakened people understand better than most. They know not to repress what hurts, because emotions, especially the painful ones, aren't enemies to fight off. They're messengers. Imagine trying to bury a seed of pain deep inside instead of letting it breathe. Over time, it doesn't disappear. It blooms inward like a cyst. You feel it in your anxiety, your insomnia, your quiet frustration. Instead of escaping, it festers. Highly spiritual people refuse to allow that infection. They cry when the tears come. They scream when they must. They write, dance, pray, breathe, and they let pain have its moment in the light. And it's precisely because they don't repress their tears that they're lighter, more peaceful. It's not because life is easier for them. It's because they've stopped lying to themselves. One of the most misunderstood qualities of these people is their emotional transparency. Some call it sensitivity, others see it as weakness. But in truth, it's courage, the ability to be fully human in a world that punishes vulnerability. And from this strength flows their wisdom. One reason they move differently through life is because they don't take things personally. Mark Twain once said, "Never argue with a jerk. He'll bring you down to his level, and there he'll beat you by experience." Spiritually aware people understand this deeply. They know that people react from their level of consciousness, not from truth. They don't waste their energy trying to change someone who isn't ready to hear. They know that people only truly listen when their hearts are open, and when they're not, words are just noise. That's why they don't dwell on why someone mistreated them or said something cruel. They don't spin in circles asking, "Why me?" Because the answer is always the same. Because some people are not capable of more, not yet. Another thing they do differently is they dare. They step into spaces others avoid, because they've learned that fear isn't a stop sign, it's a threshold. There's a fable by Jorge Bucay that illustrates this beautifully. In it, a giant elephant is tied to a tiny stake. Despite his strength, he never tries to break free. Why? Because when he was a baby, he tried and failed over and over. Now, even though he could easily escape, he believes he can't. Spiritually awake people realize when they are no longer that child. They test the ropes, and when they find they're loose, they walk free. They take risks, not because they don't feel fear, but because they've stopped accepting limitation as identity. They know that failing at something 10 years ago doesn't mean they can't succeed today. Growth, to them, isn't a timeline, it's a choice. And maybe most misunderstood of all, they simply don't give a fuck. Not about the things most of society worships. Not about losing status or jobs, or the approval of people who never understood them to begin with. They're not cold. They're centered. They know who they are without a title, without a paycheck, without a crowd cheering them on. That's why, when Jesus of Nazareth was told his family was waiting for him, he pointed to the people around him and said, "Who is my mother? Who are my brothers? These are my mother and brothers." He wasn't being cruel. He was showing what it means to live unchained from attachment. Because if who you are depends on who loves you, then you are never truly free. This is why highly spiritual people refuse to be manipulated. They don't allow others to push their ego buttons. You've probably felt this yourself, working harder than others, being overlooked, watching less capable people get praise while your efforts go unnoticed, and slowly, resentment builds. The thought creeps in, why do I even bother? That's exactly the trap. Some people and some systems know that triggering your sense of injustice can actually drain your energy. It makes you reactive instead of reflective. Spiritually aware people see this. They know that being treated unfairly is often a test, not just of patience, but of power. They don't need validation from a broken structure to confirm their worth. And because of that, they cannot be controlled. Their peace isn't passive, it's earned. It's built from sitting with pain instead of running from it, from letting go when everything in them wants to cling, from choosing growth over comfort, truth over ego, and soul over image. You don't need a title to walk this path. You don't need years of study or spiritual retreats. What you need is honesty, the willingness to feel, to question, to shed the false layers of who you thought you had to be. The pain of now will still come, but the pain of the past, you don't have to carry it anymore. And in that choice, again and again, you become free.